denial, obfuscation, disinformation, distraction, blaming, and scapegoating. Where we go from here, how we cope, has to do with several individual factors, which we will talk about. But first, please take out that piece of paper that I asked you to have and your pen or pencil. And I want to ask you some questions. So just jot down, and again, this is for your own reflection. So what's in your toolkit? What do you do under stress for better or for worse? What has been working for you under the current set of stressors that you're facing? What has been the hardest for you since March? What's been your biggest challenge? What silver linings have there been for you? Who do you hold inside of you and draw on for strength or inspiration? What makes a day a good one or a satisfying one? What do you, just two more, what do you tell yourself about what you're going through? And can you think of a time in your life when an unexpected challenge led to new opportunities or growth? Perhaps in looking back, you consider that time a turning point. So hold on to that and hold on to those thoughts. So if the first trauma is the presence and threat of the virus, and the second trauma is, let's call it the crazy-making response around us, the third trauma is the unpredictable and uncontrollable behavior of the people that we come in contact with locally. This is especially so in our area because there isn't an organized plan or guidance or systematic approach based on science to manage and reduce the virus and its impacts on our community. So without mandates, families and individuals are making their own decisions about their exposures and their own risk calculations. So that again is another ongoing stress and strain. But even for conscientious people, research has shown that we are biased in our appraisals. We're not good at assessing our own risk necessarily, including with regard to social distancing. So what can skew our assessments of our own risk? We have a few biases. One we can call an optimistic bias. It's a basic and well-established finding in social psychology that we think our own risk is less than that of other people's risk. We also underestimate social distance, for instance, from people we like, as if we're less likely to pass the virus to or from someone we have a positive regard for. A false sense of control. The more control we think we have, the less worried we are. So, worry is adaptive. It can protect us to some extent. That's why, for many, driving a car seems safer than flying. Wearing a mask and using hand sanitizer may embolden people with a sense of control, but social distancing is still key in preventing spread. We also tend to have a confirmation bias. We tend to only seek information that confirms what we want to find. So for instance, Googling, is it safe to dine outside with friends during the coronavirus, will lead to articles confirming the safety of dining outside. So it's important also to search for the dangers in dining outside during the coronavirus. And then something like exposure therapy. Now, exposure therapy is a wonderful technique that we use to help people diminish their anxiety and fear and avoidance in specific situations that are interfering in their life. But right now, what we're going through is not in that category. This is not made up, and it's not neurotic. And again, our anxiety and reticence is adaptive. In fact, a special challenge right now, I'd say another set of stresses that we probably all share, has to do with being able to say no, to set limits and boundaries, especially when you feel uneasy or unsafe. And this is particularly hard when there's a difference in view or safety between you and someone you love, people in positions of authority, people that you depend on. So assertiveness skills and all these difficult situations, that's a subject for another time perhaps, but I just wanted to highlight that, because especially in March, especially in May, when people became more mobile and there were more options, I realized for myself that was a huge issue. So I asked you earlier, what's in your toolbox? And how have you been navigating this very challenging time? And since this has been going on since March, that's 5 months now, the likelihood is that you've reacted differently at the outset than perhaps when we had our phase 1 reopening in May. And then since July, as we've witnessed a worsening of the spread of the virus in our area, and have largely been left to our own judgment about how to navigate, how to manage our own health risk and live as well as possible, perhaps even thrive. Though none of us have lived through this set of challenges before, we each have had experience with adversity. So what is resilience? It refers to the ability to bounce back after encountering difficulty. It is the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, and even significant sources of stress, such as family and relationship problems, serious health problems, or workplace and financial stresses. So what makes some people resilient? Stephen Southwick and Dennis Charney, in the recent second edition to their book, which came out in 2018, entitled Resilience, the Science of Mastering Life's Greatest Challenges, following extensive interviews with people who had gone on to lead productive and accomplished lives after having experienced a wide range of adverse experiences, were able to identify recurrent themes and a pattern of coping strategies that were used when these highly resilient people were confronted with high levels of stress. They identified what they call 10 resilience factors. What I realized, my light bulb moment, as I was preparing for this talk, is that these are not just tools for resilience, but they're tools for living. And to the extent that you've been practicing some of these, you might find yourself better prepared for the current set of stressors. I also see them as the tools for healthy aging, and that they can lead to a developmental achievement that not everybody reaches, which is wisdom. In response to stress, all of the individuals that they interviewed, one, confronted their fears. They faced their fears. Let me just plug this in, because for some reason My battery is saying low. Okay. One more second. The second one, the second one is they maintained an optimistic but realistic, all caps and bold, outlook. Realistic optimism. 3, they sought and accepted social support. Going it alone is not consistent with resilience. They imitated sturdy role models, so they had resilient role models. Which goes back to my question about who do you draw on right now internally. Most also relied upon their own inner moral compass. They turned to religions or spiritual practices. They found a way to accept what they could not change. So we call that cognitive and emotional flexibility. Many attended to their health and well-being and trained intensively to stay physically fit, mentally sharp, and emotionally strong. So there was a physical fitness and a brain fitness component. And most were active problem solvers who looked for meaning and opportunity in the midst of adversity, and sometimes even found humor in the darkness. And finally, they also accepted responsibility for their own emotional well-being, and many used their traumatic experiences as a platform for personal growth. Resilience is common and it is learned. There's a science behind resilience training that involves strengthening ourselves physically, cognitively, and emotionally. And in doing so, we can enhance our ability to cope well in the face of stress and adversity. You will find that you too employ some or all of these factors, and that we each can work to strengthen the ones we don't use enough. So resilience isn't a one single thing, right? It's this multidimensional. And so there's some strategies that come more naturally to you, some that maybe you avoid or but it bears looking at. The different factors are also interrelated. So for example, when we acknowledge our fear, what may make the difference in choosing how we handle it. So, you've heard the expression fight or flight. So whether to take it on or whether to, run the other way and avoid, that is, fighting through the fear and avoidance versus avoiding, shutting down, maybe focusing on what you value most and what is meaningful to you. So that might make the difference, whether you're going to do the hard work of something. This shift in focus or outlook can make space for new ways of problem solving, goal setting, and action, and provide the needed motivation to fight the fight. So that's just one example. I mean, today, each of you, if you think about just tuning in today, the several different resiliency factors that you've just exhibited of the ones that I mentioned, right? So social support, religious and spirituality, emotional and cognitive flexibility, and perhaps some others. So what I thought was that we could put into use one tool of resilience, which I can't say enough about having your own practice of deep breathing it comes in so handy in so many situations. Acutely, if you're in an anxiety state, if you're feeling that things are getting overwhelming, out of control, if emotionally you're feeling too much of a storm emotionally. So it's a tool for self-regulation, and it can help. Once you have reduced the level of physiological distress, you open up space to then be a little bit more flexible cognitively for problem solving. So I thought that we could do an exercise that involves a focus on breath, deepening breaths, as well as some visualizations or meditations that I kind of put together inspired by Viktor Frankl's logotherapy. So, Viktor Frankl, who was a psychiatrist, psychoanalyst before the war, didn't take a visa, an opportunity to leave Germany at a crucial time because he valued staying and being with his parents and his family. Was in, I think, 4 concentration camps in 3 years, and in 1946, he put down his experiences and his integration and thoughts about how he survived adversity, and his wonderful book, which I'm sure most of you have read, Man's Search for Meaning, which bears rereading maybe every few years, especially in a difficult time like this. He's very future oriented, and what he thinks is the most important thing, even more than pleasure or happiness, is the motivation to find purpose and meaning. So I kind of used that to help me in what we're going to do next. So do we have time, Bobby, to do the relaxation exercise?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Okay. So let's see. What I'd like everybody to do is to, sit comfortably. I hope you've been sitting comfortably all along. Uncross your legs and your arms, and place your hands on your abdomen. I'd like you to pay attention to where in your body there is tension and what it feels like. So with your hands on your abdomen, you'll be able to feel the movement of your stomach. You'll feel your stomach rise on the inhale and flatten on the exhale. I want you to think about breathing through your nose. If you have sinus issues or this feels too uncomfortable, the alternative is to make believe that you have a small cocktail straw between your lips, purse your lips, and you're going to suck in through the straw and blow out through the straw. So that's for mouth breathing. But if you can, try and breathe through your nose. So it'll be noisy, and try not to be self-conscious about it, and to just give yourself that freedom and that space. So it's going to be something like this. And when you can't inhale anymore, then you'll begin to exhale very slowly in the same way that you inhaled. So it's going to be sequential, and you're going to feel, first your lower abdomen fill up with air, and then you're going to feel your upper abdomen, and then you're going to feel it gradually. The last place is going to be your chest. And when we're anxious, what happens is we inadvertently begin with our chest. We take shallow breaths, and that's what can lead to more tension and even hyperventilation for some people. So let's take deep abdominal breaths, again, through your nose. And I'm going to talk as you do this, okay? So maybe I'll take 3 deep breaths with you, and then you continue, but I'm going to talk, okay? So here's the first one. Hands on the abdomen. eyes closed, inhaling either way that you prefer. I'm going to inhale through my nose. So you continue. Now, I already felt myself going into a very quiet place. I've been doing deep breathing for a long time, and I find it very, very helpful and therapeutic. So you're practicing, continue to practice. And what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate some muscle tensing and relaxing, because the way we relax is not by saying relax, it's through opposition. So we have to work at it. We have to work to relax. So on the next inhale, I want you to slowly take your right hand and I want you to make a fist and squeeze and put all the tension from your whole body into your right hand. Inhaling, inhaling, inhaling. And when you can't inhale anymore, you're going to exhale and ease out, let go of the tension in your right hand. Let go, let go. And now we're going to move into the left hand. On the inhale, you're going to tighten, tighten, squeeze, squeeze. All the tension from your whole body is now in your left hand. And as you begin to exhale, you're going to ease out, let go, let go, let go. On the next inhale, we're just going to move up into the neck and the shoulders, which is a very common place to hold tension. So on the inhale, as you inhale through either the straw or through your nose, you're going to feel your stomach rising. You're going to bring your shoulders up by your ears. Tight, 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 tight. All the tension is now in your neck and shoulders. Arch back with your shoulders. Push down with your shoulders. Push forward and relax. And when you let go, you feel the opposite of tension. That's relaxation. Now what I'd like you to do is you continue to take your deep breaths and keep your eyes closed. I want you to just think for a moment. I want you to picture yourself 3 months from now. And note, it's not a coincidence that I said 3 months. 3 months is the length of time it takes to break a habit or build a new one. So picture yourself, picture your life, and picture your life in relation to who and what is important to you. And in your mind, try to be as specific as possible about what you see. And try also to frame why this is important to you. What does it mean to you? And why does it feel purposeful? Now I want you to think about a year from now, a safer place. What makes it so? Place yourself and place you in relation to the people and places and involvements that are important to you. Set an intention for yourself. Set a goal for the next 3 months and one for the coming year. Now, before you open your eyes, I want you to keep your eyes closed, but we want to bring some healthy, clean, tension-free energy back into the body. So I want you to tense both hands, both feet, your legs, maybe your neck and shoulders again, and take a slow, deep breath. Tight, 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 tight. And then exhale and let go. And then shake your hands, and shake your feet, and shake your legs. And then you can slowly open your eyes. I'm just going to say something in closing. I want to read something to you that a grandmother in New Orleans wrote in a letter to the New York Times. She said, I asked my 13-year-old grandson, what is something good that has come out of the pandemic? He replied, I have more me time. I asked what he learned during his me time. Without missing a beat, he said, I've been thinking a lot about the big picture, that this quarantine isn't just about my city, it's the whole world. I mean, something like this happens only every 100 years, so it will be in history books, and I'll be able to tell my kids and grandkids about it. That's big. He gets it, she said. I'll quit worrying about him for now. So, Bobby, I shared with you a resource list that we were going to share with everybody and perhaps email in case anyone would like it, with some suggested readings and some meditation and relaxation apps.
Yes, I'm sharing that now. You should see it on your screens.
Now, you don't have to jot any of that down because, you know, we can email that to you if you'd like, the whole list. And then there's a page 2 with some apps on it.
Does anyone have any questions for Lisa? No?
I have a comment.
Okay. Brenda?
First of all, I want to thank Lisa very much. She did a lot of work to prepare this session this morning, I'm sure. And what she talked about, I think, resonates probably with all of us. I just want to make a comment, or maybe it is kind of a question, is in talking about lowering risk and looking for ways to justify your behavior in changing social distancing and or mask wearing. I thought that was a really interesting comment because what I find is friends are now inviting us to go out to dinner and do different things that we're very uncomfortable with. So it does add a level of anxiety, as Lisa suggested. And I want to thank her for mentioning that and validating the anxiety that we're feeling. So thank you, Lisa.
Oh, thank you, Brenda, for your comment.
Any other comments or questions for Lisa? I can't
Just
see
from
everybody.
appreciation. Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thanks, Lisa.
You're welcome.
So I would
Thanks,
like
Lisa.
I would like to formally thank Lisa for your inspiring and informative presentation. We are happy that those of you who were able to attend, we're hopeful so many of you were able to attend, and hope you had some aha moments, such as Brenda, as to how to improve life under these current circumstances. Please be on the lookout for our adult education brochure for 2020-2021, which Bobby will be sending out this week. Make sure to mark your calendar for Sunday, September 13th at 10 o'clock for our next presentation. And please invite your friends to join us on Zoom so you can share and they can share in this wealth of information.
Lisa, I want to thank you as a first adult education program of the year. You really kicked us off in a very interesting, informative way and shared a lot of great information. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for your appreciation.
Terrific.
Lisa,
Yes?
yes, this is Lois Richards, and I just wanted to thank you for your presentation. I thought it was wonderful. I think the toolkit is something that I use every day, and it really helps. And I know you alluded to part of a prayer by Saint Francis of Assisi, and things we cannot change. And I just want to suggest that reading her prayers have really helped me.
That reading, say it again?
Saint Francis of Assisi.
Reading.
Yeah, reading her prayers, which is where I think you got accepting the things we cannot change.
Well, that was actually that came out of research. That I was those 10 tools are actually all what came out of this wonderful research. I highly recommend the book that I was talking about. It's, you know, I think they're both from Yale and did tremendous work on this topic. And that was one of the factors that, so yes, it's in that prayer, and we're all familiar with that, and it bears out in research as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just like to say that those of us that get to work with Lisa on various committees and on the board and on the executive committee know that the sort of insight that she brings to us that we're able to bring to bear on a lot of the issues we have to deal with, and it's always positive and it's always productive and helpful. And so all of us got a little bit of a taste of that today. Lisa, wonderful presentation. Thank you. Thank you for being the first. And I think we should all feel very, very proud of our entire adult ed team. The creativity that they've brought to bear on creating a program for the coming year, especially in the light of the challenges that we face, is really something that's inspiring. And I hope that we're all going to be able to bring that sort of creativity and inspiration to things we do on behalf of the Temple in the time to come. So Lisa, again, thank you. Anne, Brenda, Linda, everybody on our adult ed team, wonderful job. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much,
You're
Lynn.
welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess we will sign off, huh?
Thanks again, Lisa.
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
again.
all.